So RBA player Leroy James self-sabotages his own RBA legacy. LeBron James takes himself out of his own RBA misery. LeBron James Kurt Cobain's his own career. LeBron James goes to rigged heaven. I'll say it again, rigged heaven. LeBron James goes to Kashi 6ix9ine and rats on himself. But LeBron James does a sit-down interview with former RBA player Steve Nash and exposes himself and exposes that he's on performance enhancement drugs, allegedly. He gives more life to the suspicions that LeBron James could potentially be on performance enhancement drugs, allegedly. But here's what LeBron James had to say.
There was that saying, what, you spent like $1 million on your body or something?
Man, I don't know where the hell that shit came from.
Okay. That's a very fair assessment.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I mean, listen, man, I do take care of my body, but I have no idea where the amount of money came from. But I do invest in my body for sure, trying to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Obviously a lot of soft tissue work, a lot of massages, a lot of hyperbaric chambers, ice tubs, ice baths. Whatever I can do to continue to play at this level, man, I'm going to continue to do what I'm playing.
Well, a wise man once said that if you allow a person to talk long enough, they'll reveal the truth about themselves and everything that you need to know. And they'll tell on themselves. You don't have to do a lot of deep digging. That person will expose themselves. It's not more so how LeBron James is performing and outperforming the younger players on the basketball court. It's more so about what LeBron James says in these interviews. Prime example, this most recent interview that you just watched. LeBron James even stated a few months back that he felt, and I'm just paraphrasing, but he stated that he believes that he could continue to play 4 or 5 years at a high level. Now, majority of professional athletes, once they reach a certain age, they no longer even have the urge to want to play anymore. Once they're past their primes, they start dealing with knick-knack injuries. Their bodies start to break down. They're just unable and not capable of being able to do what they used to do. That's what happens with old age. There's no amount of money that you can pay me to lead me to believe that LeBron James is the only player that was somehow blessed from God to be able to defeat Father Time. And I truly believe this will be a narrative that the media will run with so that the masses can regurgitate these talking points. They'll say, oh, well, that's how you know that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. But has Michael Jordan ever defeated Father Time? But you can hear it in players' voices that they're exhausted, that they're done with the game. They've given the game all that they got. They proved so much in a shorter period of time than LeBron James is trying to prove in year 20. The man's 40 years old, still trying to accomplish what Michael Jordan has accomplished throughout his RBA career. But that's the most glaring, major red flag sign that something is very suspicious. Is what the person says. Listen to what LeBron James is saying. He's basically telling you that he's on steroids, allegedly. Didn't the police tell you, LeBron James, that you have the right to remain silent? I mean, where's the shaking my head emoji? If I were LeBron James, I would have remained silent. But as it states in the Bible, the devil must reveal himself. LeBron James has to expose himself. It's not genuine. It's not real. You mean to tell me that LeBron James is the only so-called freak of nature that can play until his 50s at a high level? But of course, LeBron James told on himself. Because LeBron James, he isn't the smartest tool in the shed. He's actually the dumbest tool in the shed, ladies and gentlemen. He's like a tool that you shouldn't even have bought. You should have left the tool at Home Depot. See, LeBron James is trying to stay in that time machine. LeBron James wants to remain, as the younger generation says, a YN for the rest of his life. LeBron James is always trying to stay young. LeBron James is a fraud. He's a fake. He's been exposed day by day. It's unusual. Any other athlete would make headlines. There will be some kind of suspicion. They've done it with majority of athletes. Try to say that Floyd Mayweather was taking some form of performance enhancement drugs. Any other player or athlete gets accused of being on performance enhancement drugs except for LeBron James. He's the only player that's exempt. No, that's not fair. That's unfair to the game. LeBron James is cheating the game, allegedly. You can't name another player in RBA history who has played as many minutes as LeBron James. Not in just the regular season, but in the postseason. This man has played heavy minutes, and he's been playing since he was a youngin'. He's been playing basketball since he was a kid, playing in middle school, playing in high school. So he's been playing for 20 plus years and never suffered an excruciating injury. It's just highly unlikely. It's suspicious. You listen to Michael Jordan. These players just don't have it no more. They're tired. You can look and tell with their body that they're starting to slow down. And I believe that it was someone on LeBron James' camp who put out this news that LeBron James spends about $1 million per year on his body. He even admitted that it's a lie. We know that a lot of the elite athletes pay top dollar to get the best workout regimen. We know this, but to believe that LeBron James is doing something so different, something so out of this world that nobody else is doing, that he's able to prolong his career and play forever, it's just not possible. LeBron James is just telling the truth on himself. LeBron James owns the media. He pays the media to say great things about him. All the talk of LeBron James supposedly spending $1 million per year on his body is merely just a cover-up so that people won't question, is he on performance enhancement drugs, allegedly, so that it fuels the talking points, so that people will say, oh, he spends $1 million. That's how he's able to, sustain a career and not get hurt. That's how he stays healthy. So you mean to tell me that LeBron James is the only player that can have multiple primes? That LeBron James is the only player that can actually look like a cyborg truck? You mean to tell me that LeBron James can still play at a fast pace up and down the floor and not really be tired? So LeBron James just somehow is the only player who has ever existed in the sport that was so gifted from God that he can still be in peak tip-top shape and still move like a spring chicken, as the old folks used to say. He's the only one who has access and unlimited resources, the secret recipe to where he can never suffer a major excruciating injury or even look like he is showing no signs of slowing down. I debunked this theory that LeBron James taking care of his body allows him to stay around longer. Plenty of athletes has suffered an injury and weren't able to play. Karl Malone took care of his body, but eventually he suffered an injury and he played more of a reduced role than LeBron James. It doesn't make sense. Hakeem Olajuwon. You don't see these guys putting up big numbers in the latter stages of their career. Ray Allen takes good care of his body. The game now is predicated and tailor-made for a Ray Allen who just shoot threes. But Ray Allen knew that he was old. It was time to hang the jersey up. You don't see Ray Allen still trying to play the NBA. But as I said, LeBron James is using his son to have a reason to still stay around, to keep the masses distracted so they can use that built-in excuse from the media for LeBron James still being around. So the masses will use the excuse, oh, he just wants to play with his son. And they'll say the same thing once the conversation starts to be had. Will Bryce James be selected in the draft? And then LeBron James will say, well, I'm just standing around so I can play with both of my sons. The goalpost is going to continue to be moved, distracting you from the fact that, hey, this guy could be LeBarry Bonds, James. Why hasn't ESPN interviewed Chael Sonnen? Why isn't ESPN covering LeBron James' PED scandal? A close associate going to the biogenics lab, purchasing performance enhancement drugs. And they're all tied to LeBron James. It's a major red flag. Even Victor Conti, who's like the guru of performance enhancement drugs. He's a chemist. He's made undetectable steroids. Even he stated out of his own mouth that he believes that LeBron James is on some kind of PEDs, allegedly. LeBron James' career reminds me of bad breath, halitosis. It's just something that stinks. Something just doesn't smell right when it comes to LeBron James and his RBA career. It screams, yells, roars, performance enhancement drugs, steroids, allegedly.